Hello, my name is Brian Baltazar. I am a senior here at James Lake High School. I am this year's ASB president. I am part of the volleyball team. I am also part of the cheer team.
So tell me, Brian, why did Miss Anna Chavez chose you instead of hundreds of students in your classroom?
Ms. Chavez was actually my first period teacher in my freshman year. So she was just my first teacher, like literally in high school. And I've talked to her every year since then. So I would like to think that she's seen my growth throughout my years of high school and that she's seen me become who I am today. She's seen my involvement in school, augment throughout all of my years. And just seen my thirst for knowledge, increase as the years went by. I didn't have a teacher after my first year, but every time we saw each other, we cut up, we gossiped, we just cut each other up on our lives, and all in all, she did see who I was shaping to be, and I think that is why she chose me.
Can you tell the reader what was the incident happened in your life that you would like to share with readers? What are the things you should watch out when you're growing up?
This past summer, I took an engineering program at Santa Clara. It was a national thing. So there were students there from Chicago, from New York, from Texas, from Washington, all over the place. And, kids talking, they would talk about their high school lives, and, they would talk about what classes they were offered, what programs they had. And, I felt different and out of place in my own town. Just because I didn't have the privilege that they had. They had like 4 engineering classes, we didn't even have one. Students here have to go out of their way to take such course. And, so during that program, I felt inferior to them just because I didn't have what they had. And then, that thought was stuck in my head. And then I realized that even other schools here in San Jose have privileges that, James Lake doesn't have. And, for a while I was stuck in this, fixed mindset and, somber mood. But then I picked myself up and, I just realized that only makes James Lake work, the students here at James Lake work harder. And then because I like to express myself through writing, I wrote this essay about just how the resilience of the students here at James Lake is just one that I will never be able to not be impressed by. Students continue to impress me just how hard they try to, go on with life with all that they're given, compared to students who basically have it given to them. So the resilience here at James Lake is phenomenal.
So what do you think, what you're saying to me is sometimes we get in a rut of not having stuff instead of appreciating what you have.
Yes,
Would you
precisely.
agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. What is that one thing you did that anyone can do to achieve what you have?
This is probably going to sound very vague, but I would say just want it. Engendering ambition early on in your life could be a very, omnipotent tool later in your life because, when you lose track of what you want, that initial crave for success is what's going to keep you on track. It's what's going to redirect your life in the correct route and keep you going when nothing else seems to be working. So just that want factor will work no matter what environment you're put in.
So being focused.
Yes.
Okay. So you were focused on what you wanted to accomplish.
Yes.
And you were selected to, even though you had one engineering class, you were still went to the Santa Clara University, right?
Yes.
Among the others were doing 4 engineering classes, and you were still there among them.
Yes.
Isn't that amazing? Who was the most influential person in your life besides your parents?
James White. I first met James White my sophomore year when he was a new boys volleyball coach here at James Lake High School. Right from the start, he was this very formidable person. The way in which he presented himself was unlike anything I've ever seen before. Just the eloquence in his speech was unparalleled to anyone I had ever met before. And then as the season went by, his way of thinking fascinated me. His ambition was just something I had never seen before. He wasn't from here, so it was just different. And then just learning more about him, he just continued to inspire me. He went to Harvard, which is what I had been dreaming about for the longest time now. So just meeting him was like a reminder that these things are possible. He didn't grow up privileged. He had he had his own story as well. He had a very tough life, but he presented to me and reminded me that Harvard isn't that far away. The idea is, it's not a dream.
It's possible.
Yes, it's possible.
Was there a teacher inspired you in the classroom?
Yes, I've had 2 Spanish teachers, and both have played significant roles in shaping who I am today. Like I said, Travis was my first teacher ever. Off from the start, I think her young age gave her an advantage. She understood that that boring lecture wasn't the way to attract students. She always made the classroom fun. She always had relevant discussion. And it was the first time that any student was taught about their culture in a classroom setting. So I think that that original and initial talk about who we are as a person really stuck her out to me, and always kept her in my mind, because she was the first one to teach me about who I am. She made me accept myself. I actually didn't like to speak Spanish in public, because I was always, in the bottom of my heart, I was kind of embarrassed to speak Spanish in front of the people, but because one of her requirements was to always speak Spanish in class, she got me accustomed to speaking Spanish, to be myself and to embrace who I am. And then that's when I transitioned into Miss Huerta, and she was the one that augmented my love for literature. We analyzed like 1,700 poets, and she introduced me to my favorite writer now, which is a Mexican philosopher. And yeah, both of these women have played crucial roles into my life. In terms of my career, in terms of who I am, in terms of how I think, and just my free time too, because I enjoy reading.
How are your friends react to your accomplishments, and how it has challenged you?
Challenged me? My friends are very supportive of my accomplishments. They always make sure to check in with me on the status of like an application or a program, or how the program went. This summer I did multiple programs, so every time I came back for one and I had like a 2-day like break gap, they all made plans with me to hang out with me, and they would talk about how the things went. And every time I have some like award ceremony or just a game for volleyball, they always go and they support me. I love them. And they have eased my like pathway so far, because support is one of the crucial things of life. You need support. You need that love to help you go on, and they truly have made it easier for me and allowed me to continue on with what I want to do.
What do you like to do when you're not in school?
I love to be active most of the time. I like to run. I love to play volleyball. I'm in an outside club team. I like to organize like little like games with my friends, like kickball, softball, some type of game. But I also like to like read. I love to read, especially like romanticism writing. It's like my favorite. I love learning new vocabulary. It's so fascinating and advanced. And yeah, just being active and reading, my favorite.
So what is your goal when you go to the college? You said you want to have a political science major. Why political science? Tell me.
My drive for political science actually started my sophomore year when Mr. Keyes introduced to this social justice project. So it was the first time that it was, explicitly taught to me and what it was. And we did this project where we fundraised almost $4,000 for the Malala Foundation and the Fisher House, and for the Yazidis. So that to me was it truly was a life-changing experience. And ever since then, I felt a certain passion for social justice. And I've seen it applied to certain aspects of my life. I participated in the school walkout here at James Lake, and which is another pivotal moment in my life. It still echoes in my mind, just the feeling that I felt when Julie Balkendai, my predecessor, yes, the last year's president, when we didn't know how successful the event was going to be, and then we saw the students here, the majority of the students were outside, in unison, and it was a beautiful moment. And during my high school years, the political climate became rather intense.
Okay.
So of course our generation had more of a hit when that occurred. So we saw our generation have more of a drive for politics because we didn't like what was happening, in
2016.
Yes, we did not like the events of 2016. So I felt like that was sophomore year as well, actually. So it was all perfect timing to me, and and that all shaped me into who I am. And yeah.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks for taking time to meet with me and share your story.